Yo, check it. Welcome back to another episode.
Podcast.
What up?
Hey,
We got Javon Devon in the house.
Hello.
once again, as promised.
Hello.
And I'm pretty sure
I know.
everybody enjoyed that episode.
It
Like,
was
everybody-
fun.
Everybody came up to me and they're like, that episode,
Yeah.
like, all
Everybody liked your
inspiring. It was
episode,
good.
Devon.
Thank
they
you.
loved it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me back.
Of course.
Oh, we love having you back. the spiritual energy you bring, you know, just you know how like you people feel the aura. I think we talked about this last time, but people can feel the aura and the way like you step into the room and just boom,
Boom.
you know, it's like the spiritual like essence in this room.
The vibe.
The vibe.
There it
The
is.
vibe.
The vibe.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you for having me back. I had so much fun, and it was crazy to see back on everything that we touched on.
Yeah.
Everything that just came out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so much fun. So I'm excited for this one.
I'm sure we can get a lot of good stuff out of this too.
Yeah, of course.
Today's topic is
Dun, dun, dun.
interesting.
It is.
Wait, did we ask him the 2 questions last time? We did, huh?
We did ask him about his 2 questions.
Mm.
He was
Do you have any new obsessions?
New obsessions.
yeah,
Yeah.
since the last time we spoke.
Like, what's your current obsession? If you have anything new from last time.
My current obsession. I don't. Action.
Action?
Yeah. Like
Define-
if you think it, taking action on whatever pops up into my mind. So instead of sitting on ideas or anything that, I don't know, just right now I feel like I'm taking a lot of action. If I think it, then go do it. Or call this person, call that person.
Oh.
Turn here, but I'm going to be late for work, so I turn here.
Things
like that.
I like that.
Yeah, just taking action. I think
That's
I think
awesome.
It kind of
Sometimes you
just
just gotta
let
take- let the universe take you
Yeah.
wherever
Yeah.
they take you.
It's like Pocahontas. Flow with the wind. Go with the wind.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
because you never know. Maybe it's just like a higher like being or higher like power just calling you to this one spot in time. It's just like turn here. Well, okay, and then you
Yeah.
turn, and all of a sudden
Why-
you're needed at that spot.
Boom.
But I mean, if you think about it, we're always needed. We're always there at the right time,
At the right place.
at the right place. Exactly.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not. Well, I mean, I kind of believe that. It's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, if I was meant to be at this spot, then this is where I'm meant to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, I think about opportunities.
Yeah.
I think we're gifted ideas and we're meant to take action on them instead of sit on them. And
Mhm.
sometimes we'll talk ourselves out of it because the idea or the dream or something that's like bloop comes in. Wow, that would be so fun to build. Oh, but I would need time, money, but I'm busy right now. I got to work in the morning. So instead of having that, I
Mhm.
guess, thought pattern, right now I just seem to be taking action is like my new thing of like, if I think it, then let's do it. Create it. Put it on the calendar. Go do it. Like right now. What action can I take right now to make that happen?
Just do it.
Just do it. That's good though. You know, honestly, it's good because some people they think about it and they're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll do it next week or 2 weeks from now.
Mm.
You know, I mean, as long as you write it down. I mean, JERiCK's been writing all sorts of stuff down all over the place.
Yeah,
So
I see that one. I think my favorite one up there is love.
Love.
Since it's the month of love.
It's coming.
oh
coming.
yeah,
It's coming.
it is coming. Oh,
Yeah.
is this the reason why we're talking about this topic? We're talking about.
Yeah,
I
self
mean, it's a
love.
yeah, it's Valentine's Day is coming up soon. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know when this podcast episode's gonna be out.
So
Maybe
Valentine's
after,
Day.
but
Popped in. So anybody listening, Valentine's Day was just
just happened.
just happened for you. So hopefully y'all had a good Valentine's Day. You know.
Yeah.
Like, and if you can't find love, and if you're single and you can't find love, find love in yourself. That's the
Mhm.
most important thing.
exactly.
Find
I
love
don't
in
think you
yourself.
can give anything away that you don't have.
Boom.
I can't give it unless I have it. That's like money, time, resources.
Mm-hmm,
I can't give you something I don't have.
That's true.
I absolutely agree.
No.
I absolutely agree.
But today's topic
Mm.
is about being single.
Oh, did you guys just, that was cool.
We tend to do that,
That
It's
was
a new
cool.
thing,
We've been working our synchronicity.
Yeah, I like that. That was, okay.
We're trying
I
to
see
be
you.
like, You know how that Dragon Ball? Oh man, it's a nerd. Now it's a nerd thing. Dang it. So
We'll just
Let it
leave it
out.
at
Let it
we'll just
out.
leave it at
Come
that.
on.
We'll leave it at that.
Oh.
It's because there's an episode of like Dragon Ball Z where it's like they have to synchronize. We're like that
It happens. It happened.
Dang.
Just now. I love it.
every single time.
I'm gonna try to get in on the next one. Next opportunity.
Oh,
comes
okay.
Up.
Oh yeah. Of course.
It'll happen.
There's plenty of opportunities.
I feel it.
But yeah, being single.
Tell me about it, JERiCK.
You said you had a lot of
I have so much
golden nuggets.
I hope at least I call 'em my golden nuggets of being single. But yes, as being single, I think one of the best things I've ever created is while I was single.
Hmm.
I don't know about you guys, but I tend to create really great things. When I first started dating, I was like, do you know what a serial dater is?
Yeah.
Like one after another,
Yeah.
and had no clue what it was like to be by myself or with myself. Ever since I like had my first significant other, starting at the age of 16, all the way up to about 25.
Hmm.
Like
Just
never.
dating.
Yeah, like in long term too. Like I'd hold on to things that should have been let go a long time ago.
Yeah.
What was your longest relationship?
4 years. 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, I was serial dater. No kidding. Like 2 years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
So there, what's the in between? How many years in between?
Like maybe like I don't know, like a couple seconds in between relationships.
What?
No, no kidding. But literally, it was just like I think I was grabbing.
Uh-huh.
I just needed someone or something.
Yeah.
And looking back on those times and moments, they were all lessons and blessings and so many good things. I think you learn a lot about yourself while you're with somebody.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely agree.
but I learned so much more when I was by myself. And so learning that, spending 3 years, 4 years by myself, I got to create who Javon was by himself without anybody else's thoughts or opinions or ideas.
Hmm.
I also found out my moral compass of the things that I wanted to create and build, and making sure I learned how to say no.
Yeah.
Where beforehand I'd go on a date and be like, yes, you're the one. I'm going to spend my life with you. I can see the wedding already. So my head's going like this, and but silently I'm just smiling, but they don't know how crazy I am. Where now it's, where I was able, I remember, so I got sober, 25.
Yeah.
They
And how old are you
recommend-
now?
I'm 29.
29, so 4 years.
4 years.
Javon, you're
Don't say old.
no.
Oh,
We're older than
We're
you.
older than you. What are you talking about?
you got the side eye real quick.
No. I'm flabbergasted.
How old are you?
We're both 30.
Yeah.
I'm right behind you. 6 months. In 6 months, I'll be 30.
Oh, in 6 months? Oh, man.
I'll be 31 in 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. How's it feel?
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still got the baby face.
Of course. I got the Asian blood. We don't
You don't.
we don't
age.
look we
That don't
don't
crack.
age until like we turn 50 and then we just look old.
Yeah. There's no in between. You know, it's straight
Boop,
Yeah.
gray
there-
hairs.
There's no transition. It's just bam.
boom. I don't know, but they recommend the first year in recovery sobriety to make no major changes.
Mm.
And so I took it very seriously and don't get in a relationship, don't get out of one. And I totally listened. And I went a whole year without dating anyone, not even like apps, nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember hitting my year mark and I was like, I'm ready, world.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole world was going to want some. And then when I went out there, they didn't want none. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Is it me? And yeah, it was completely different of being a whole year with myself, of not just a whole year doing nothing, but like a lot of self-reflection, a lot of writing, a lot of journaling, a lot of uncovering things about you that you don't really want to look at or take time to look at.
Mhm.
Like, what are my I don't know, like defaults? What are my moral flaws? Like, nobody likes to sit in the mirror and say, hey, you can improve on these things about yourself.
Mhm.
But it takes time and it took a lot of effort. And so I think when I thought I was ready to get back out there, I didn't know it then, but I was operating from a different compass. So I had new tools and a new set of eyes and a new way of receiving information. So I remember learning how to say no,
Mm-hmm.
going out on dates and sitting across from a table, and instead of wanting any kind of attention I could get to feel comfort, I remember sitting across from somebody and being like, I don't like this, and this is probably not going to happen again.
And if you don't mind, what kind of things were you saying no to?
I remember sitting across from somebody and them asking me, "Why did you want to go out for coffee instead of drinks?"
Mm.
And
I mean, that's
yeah,
yeah,
right. And I told them I'm in
yeah.
recovery and don't really. That's not my scene.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this was fun."
He left.
What? No way.
Yes, just left, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, okay. Lesson learned. Maybe I shouldn't share that so fast or so soon." But looking back on it, I was really happy. You just saved us a lot of time.
Yeah, no,
I'm wondering. I'm wondering, like, what did he? What was it that decided for him to decide to just not pursue that? Was it because you were in recovery, or was it
Probably
because
the
like maybe he
lifestyle.
likes he
Yeah.
likes to party and drink and
Probably.
yeah?
But I'm really happy it happened. Um, I also remember. I don't know. Are you guys people pleasers ever? Do you ever catch yourself trying to please others,
I
consciously
used to
or
be.
unconsciously?
I feel like
Um,
I used to be a people pleaser, but after a certain moment in time, it's just like, are you actually like happy to be around me, or are you just using me? Like sometimes, like, I would rather not feel like somebody's stepping on me to
Mhm.
like. I want people to genuinely like, oh shit, Christian's hella cool. I'm gonna hang out with him, rather than oh Christian could do that stuff. Like let's go, let's or I don't know, like Christian's a comedian or Christian, I don't know, like for whatever moment in time, I just want to feel like I'm actually really wanted to be in that space and time with that person.
Mhm.
I'm like me and JERiCK are been friends for forever. Like JERiCK knows my skill sets are not that great, so I know JERiCK for sure wants
Loves
to kick it
you
with
for
me.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like we've been kicking it forever. We play video games, but without video games, what are we? We're still friends because we have things in common. You know, like we don't worry about those things, the nuances. Whereas like there are people out there who's just like, oh, okay, well, you know, Christian, he knows how to do this, he knows how to do that. Let's go make sure. Let's see if Christian can do all this stuff for me. No, I don't want.
Yeah.
Like,
It's tiring.
yeah, it's
It's
tiring.
tiring.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever had that phase where I wanted to please anybody. I just didn't really give a shit about.
Always.
No, like not in a sense like I didn't give a shit about like fitting in somewhere that I didn't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really had to try to go to where everybody else
Yeah.
is going.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's when I hit college is when I had that phase of just like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm just gonna be me,
This
and
is
then
me.
you know whoever I become friends with are gonna be like, because it's college. You know,
Mhm.
you meet people who are just like, I'm here for you. I'm
Mhm.
here. I'm struggling the same struggle you were struggling. Whereas like back in the day, you know, like I would just
You're
doing
trying to
some hoodlum
find
things.
out
Yeah,
who and what you are,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
yeah.
fit in.
yeah, where you fit in the crowd.
I personally still struggle, and it's at least I'm conscious that I have this quality about myself
Mm.
that I will do anything to make you like me.
Mhm.
I would say it was way more rampant when it was unconscious,
Mhm.
but I still have this tendency inside my heart to want to please others, to want to treat others, to make other people comfortable,
Mhm.
to make other people. I will put myself last to make sure that somebody else is uncomfortable. Where these lessons I've learned over the years
Mhm.
are not good for both parties, not good for myself, not good for other people or relationships. So that being said, I didn't know that first year after being by myself and then going back out there and sitting across from somebody, and I noticed for the first time that I wasn't trying to strive for their approval.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to get something from them, to feel comfortable in my own skin.
Mhm.
I wasn't trying to present a self that would make this person like me.
Mhm.
And I remember by the end of the date, how much I loved myself and respected myself to say, thank you, but no thank you. I had so much fun.
Mhm.
And that in itself, I would never in a million years be able to tell someone, no, I'm not going to go on another date with you. Do you know how uncomfortable that is? Like right up front, just to say that. And I remember having confidence and feeling very okay with respecting you and respecting myself. I'm saying, you know, that I had a lot of fun, but this isn't going to happen again. walking away from that, I recognize how much I'd grown within myself. So being single, if I wasn't single, if I didn't spend that time with me, I don't think I would have recognized those leaps within learning how to love me, learning how to be okay with all of me, my flaws, my greatness, everything about me, and not trying to present something for someone else to fall in love with. And it still is a process of making sure that I'm loving all assets of myself. And I think it's a daily thing. You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself
Yeah,
type
yeah.
deal. When left undone, that's when weeds tend to grow, and then you become, I don't know, back to your old roots.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes
Yes.
absolute sense. You know, there's some people will tend to go back to the old because it's comfortable. It is comfortable. When you put yourself out there, and when you're being like, okay, I guess going from being in a relationship to being single, you're sitting there thinking, oh, this is what I used to do. I used to do this with this person, but now I'm by myself. So what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just gonna do the things I used to do, and one of those things I used to do, some of those things probably are bad qualities. You never know. I mean, I've been there, I've done that, and I think what's important to be when being in a relationship is don't forget about yourself. Don't forget about like things that made you who you are. Um, like you spend all this time with your significant other, and you're supposed to bring each other up. And if you're not bringing each other up, then what other qualities are you trying to build in this garden that you have with this other person? Because in reality, it is a garden. You are building a home with a significant other, and you want to see if they can take up the same space that you have, and they don't step on the same flowers, or they don't step on the flowers that you plant. If they respect the things that you respect, or if and vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're building this stuff, like sometimes you tend to step on something that you didn't exactly mean to step on, and they see that as a thing that you didn't see as you didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah, like it's nothing, but to them
Yeah,
it's
to them it's
something.
something,
Yeah.
you know? If you don't have the, I guess, ability to see that, then maybe being in a relationship wasn't your cup of tea at that time. Because you need to learn that that flower that you just stepped on is actually one of the biggest flowers that that person may have had. And you didn't pick at it, but you stepped on it. You should have like watered it, tendered it, made sure that it grows, because you're building something. You're making this beautiful garden with the person that you need to be with, and you don't want to like ruin that garden. You want to make a beautiful garden, you know? So
Is that why he's in a relationship?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should have the significant other here, and let's see. See if
It's gonna turn into Jerry Springer.
anything of what he just said is legit.
you know, I try not to step on any flowers. I tell you that. It's a beautiful thing though. When you're in that space with somebody, it's a beautiful thing. Like you
Are you
watch
in love?
Yeah, I'm absolutely.
He's
in love.
look at him. He's in love.
I just love learning to grow with her and being part of her life and being a part of her world, and just it also helps me learn more about myself.
Yourself, yeah.
Like it's obviously like I've been in, I was quite opposite. I'll be in a I was never in a relationship up until college, and then college happened and I found somebody, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is my first and only relationship. I dove right in. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Maybe I'll get married to you. I don't know. And then I didn't know. I didn't see the consequences of, this garden that I was trying to build with this person, because we weren't really we were building a garden with a fence in between, and I didn't see it. I just saw, oh shoot, look at all these flowers I'm growing. Those were all my own flowers, because her garden was on the other side of this wall that she had built. We built, but coming out of that relationship, I learned that, maybe it's good to be to understand how to make sure that fence never gets built. Second relationship, I tried my best to make sure that fence was never built. I gave space and room to grow, and I tried to water as much as I could. But I mean, people have their own things that they, like you said earlier, there's a time and place, and she needed to be somewhere where she was needed the most. So it was a relationship that I had to let go. But I learned about myself. I learned that, okay, well, I mean, like how do I grow in this empty space that was once filled with another garden, you know. um, I watered my own flowers, but I also learned that, you know what, like you can't just keep, you know, rushing love, or you can't just keep looking for love.
Mhm.
You can't like make your world all about love, because that's I'm not. I mean, if you ask anybody, they're probably gonna say, yeah, Christian's he's a romantic and he's always been searching for love, and that's probably one thing that I learned about myself too, is that, you know, I shouldn't have made that such a big portion of my life, because there is other things. JERiCK makes, you know, he makes beautiful things like
Mhm.
videos and all this other stuff. There are people creators out there, um, like these are the things that bloom in your own garden, because you didn't, you know, you weren't thinking about the lot next to you. You were just thinking about your own lot. You're trying to, you know, you're trying
Mhm.
to make your own garden flourish. Obviously, when that garden flourishes, somebody else is gonna take the lot next to you, and that person's gonna be the person you're gonna spend the rest of your life with. And you know, you can only hope that that person's, you know, enjoys your garden as much as you enjoy theirs. Um, and that's what I learned, being like that transition from being in a relationship to being in single. And my longest relationship was like what, 5 years. And it took like it was an up and down you know, relationship, but it took that long for me to recognize, oh, these are qualities that. And like I had a hard crash. I was like, wow, I was a jerk.
Mhm.
And I don't like that Christian. That's the Christian I don't want to. That's a flower I don't want to water. That's a flower that was a weed. And it only took for me to get out of a relationship to learn that. And that's the reason why I like the garden I'm building now. Hopefully it has beautiful flowers. You know, I'm
Mhm.
not trying to build a garden with you know, bad juju. I'm trying to build a garden, and so that everybody sees that. I mean, even if anybody's viewing it, I just want it to be known between me and my significant other that, look, this garden is ours. I will do what it takes to make sure that there is a waterfall flowing in this garden for you, that sun's always shining. I mean, there may be days where it rains, but because it rains, we're trying to make this garden, you know, this garden will look beautiful after.
Mhm.
Like there will always be a storm depending on like, you know, what kind of conversations you have. But
Always.
at the end of the day, you know, it's how you deal with them. Like that's coming from someone who just got into a relationship. I mean, my last relationship, I don't know. I was like probably like a long time ago, probably like 2015, 2016. I'm not quite sure. I try not to keep track of the, you know, beginning and ending of my relationship. I just try to keep track of the things that, all the bad qualities that I had then, so that way I don't repeat them over.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
coming from those kind of
That's
relationships.
a lesson.
It is a lesson,
Mhm.
absolutely.
That's why being single is so important, because everybody just kind of, after a relationship, people just kind of want to jump in to the next one.
It's
fill the
important
hole.
not
You
to
know,
jump in.
Mhm.
I mean, I totally get it, because it gets lonely, especially when it's still like a fresh breakup. It's tough,
Yeah,
and people want to feel that comfort, and then they kind of find it through like somebody else or
Something else.
something else.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's because they got to fill that void, and that's why, especially if you're single right now, you should focus on yourself and just do your thing.
yeah. I wouldn't worry too much about love, to be honest. Like, if you're single and you're looking for the next, you know, the next person to come by, like, I wouldn't worry about that. Don't worry about the next person to come by. You know why? Because, like, the more you better yourself, the more you do things for yourself, like, um, you know, I went to the gym and I did this and I did that, and I made sure that, you know, I started doing video stuff and I started looking into tech stuff. I started making sure that my world was right.
Mhm.
And I mean, me still being me, I still thought about love, but like it was so hard for me to focus on things that I needed to focus on, because I was always thinking about love. Like, when's the next person come through? When is this lot gonna be filled? No.
And every time you're thinking like that too,
Yeah, it brings it.
they can.
Smell
There's
it.
this, yeah.
They can smell the
They can smell
the
the
desperation.
thirstiness.
I think I have two. Like, I agree somewhat
Mhm.
of like, oh, just focus on yourself, do you. But at the same time, there's like when you say do you, I'm somebody, once again, I want to try things on. Like, what does do you mean? I want bullet points. I want A, B, and C lined out with 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what do you means. But I also know there's a piece of creating and calling in what you want.
Yeah.
And if
That's
you can't
true.
get
That's
clear
true.
on the vision, if you can't get clear on the person, if you can't get clear on the exactly what it is that I want, and I believe that's what contrast
Yeah.
is thank you for every single relationship I've ever had. You just got me a little bit closer to exactly what it is that I'm looking for. You showed me the
Absolutely.
things I didn't want, and now I know what I do want. I want more of that. I like that. I'll take some more of that, and
Yeah.
a little bit of that. Not that. Next time that won't happen.
Yeah. Not just in like, the other person, but in yourself as well.
That's the biggest piece because I think you learn, even though you learn a lot with yourself, but I think in solitude, you can grow spiritually, mentally, physically,
Yeah.
with yourself.
Yeah.
Now, when you bring another human being to the playing field, you mirror, and so you transfer energy. It shows you how do I walk through conflict?
Mhm.
How do I handle my emotions? How's my childhood? So a lot of things in relationships come from our childhood. And for me, I've learned my like dependencies, how I'm codependent, also how I tolerate with certain conflict, like how
Mhm.
do I react? And there's certain patterns that people will do. I would never know these things about myself if it wasn't being in a relationship. You can only learn so much by yourself,
Mhm.
but it takes another person to be there. I think a really strong person, a whole person,
Mhm.
a complete person where you both have your own gardens, as you talk about.
Mhm.
And you never stop tending to those gardens. I think that's the biggest piece I understand now
Mhm.
is that as you tend to yourself, the other person will come along. But I think it's also really important to be selective. If I'm going to be sharing my time, my space, my thoughts, my
Mhm.
bodies, my ideas with this other person, hell yes, I should be picky.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in the early episode of the podcast about dating somebody on your own level
Yeah.
Even higher.
or higher. But then, like, if they are, I mean, like, I don't want to, like, compare and contrast, like, who's better and who's not. But, like, if they are higher in the sense that you want to achieve where they want to be, like, you better make sure you're ready to handle.
You can't have a
Like-
10 unless you're a 10.
Yeah, exactly. You can't date a 10 unless you're a 10, and that
Mm,
has nothing. Oh, okay.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can get a 20. Oh, no,
No, not just like looks wise, obviously.
oh,
but,
no. It's so much more.
It's overall, it's your total average of who you are as a person. Looks, personality, whatever you have going on for yourself. That's how you rate yourself.
Hmm.
And if you're out here sitting around, like complaining about like, oh, I can never find a good girl or a good guy, whatever.
Mhm.
Like maybe you need to look at yourself and kind of reevaluate like where are you at? How come you're not attracting the tens
Yeah.
in your life? And that's probably
Shoot, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a 10. So I might not even be a 7 to be honest. But I'm absolutely working hard to maintain, to maintain that. I mean, I know my significant other for sure is a 20, out of this world. I know. There are certain parts of me that I know that I need to work on, but I make sure that I'm always doing my best to make sure that although I may be whatever, I may be a 6 or whatever, I'm a 20. Maybe a
it's a
good
big
15.
reach, bro.
I know, right? I try to make sure that I maintain that level of, because you're always on the grind. You always want to make sure that okay, look, this is what we're doing. I understand you're into this, and this. Well, like this is also what I'm into, and let's build this together.
I think that's a piece of how you keep attraction going as well.
Yeah.
Over time, that's going to die out. But what makes someone so attractive is, I don't know, you can relate or not relate, but what makes somebody absolutely attracting is the confidence of their own swag, like how they own themselves, how they walk into a room. They can physically, might not be the typical, I don't know, 10, as we would say
Yeah.
physically, but how somebody has this confidence, this energy,
Mhm.
this love for themselves, that is, I think, the most attractive thing about a person. The way they engage with you, the way they spend time, or how they build their own, what you talk about, garden.
Hmm.
I think those things are what's so attractive. And then when you get into a relationship, why do we stop doing those things? And then over time, you lose attraction of like, I used to think that you're awesome, and now you're not so awesome anymore. But at the same time, that means that I have to stay tending to myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
as we do
because
this,
you got
we
to
do
keep
this together.
growing.
Yeah.
And that's why people get a little comfortable. Like, oh, I have somebody now. I can just chill. I already got her. Or, whatever the situation is.
I think it's also, I've understand and I recognize there's a little bit of a pattern, at least for myself, of the puppy love, that phase, that first portion of like, can't get enough of this person. And you have all these chemicals running through your body of love drives us crazy. I understand why.
Hmm.
And then there's the phase of, okay, after so many hours with a human being, you learn, okay, we are compatible. We are not compatible. We should move forward and start to build together.
Hmm.
And then there comes the building phase of like, okay, how do we move and operate in this world together? Do we complement each other? I think that's another really big thing to know before even getting into a relationship. And I think that brings me to my second piece of like, number one, you can't give away something you don't have. So if I don't have love for myself, if I don't treat myself with respect, if I don't value myself, my body, my own time, my own energy, my own schedule, how am I going to expect somebody else to do that for me?
Hmm.
How do I expect other people to respect me if I don't respect myself? How do I expect other people to love me if I don't know how I need loved? That being said, like, what kind of love is it that I'm looking to know? And these were questions I didn't know. Do you know how you need love?
What do you mean?
In what way do you need love? You have to teach somebody
Oh, like
how to
the
love
5
you.
languages?
Oh,
or
you're talking about the 5 love language or just
That's
in
a
general?
piece of it, but like, how do you need to be loved?
Um,
I guess I understand what you're trying to say.
I have a little
I
bit
see
of
what you're
an
saying.
idea on how I want to be loved,
hmm And
but
so that idea, being alone, I think takes time as well.
yeah.
That alone portion.
Oh yeah, I didn't even learn about any of this until just like a few years ago. So, and I'm
Tell me
30
about-
now. So,
Jack came
so
up to
I'm
me. He's
so
like,
sorry for my past relationship.
Jack comes up to me one day.
Please
He's like,
forgive me.
"Have you heard about the 5 love languages?" I was like,
Yeah.
"The hell's that?"
Yeah, because we thought love was just love, and it's
It's so much
different.
deeper than that.
There's
I mean,
so
like
many-
you know the basis of like how to love somebody because you loved yourself, but there's so many levels and so many intricacies in loving somebody that you have to. I mean, like that book alone, I feel like there's 5. Generally, there's 5, but the way Javon's talking about it is that like how do you love this person, taking up the space with you. How do you they're watering a rose when you're watering a tulip. Like how do you got to make sure that you know how to water that rose that they're watering, and then they should in turn learn to water your tulip,
Or
like
just
one of the languages.
things about yourself of, I love myself so much that I understand that I value my alone time.
Yeah.
I love myself so much that I understand that I need really good conversation,
Mhm.
and not just any kind of conversation. I need conversation that's enlightening, that's enriching, that's meaningful, that's not surface level.
Yeah.
I love myself so much that I'm okay in quiet time, and I would like another person to be around with me in quiet time and not be weird about quiet time. Like those kind of details of being able to say, this is what I do want, instead of waiting for someone to show up and be like, oh, do I like it? But being way more mindful of like, these are the qualities and the traits that I cherish and respect and love about myself. And somebody else should know these things. Of this is what I do value, this is what I do want, and this is what I am looking for. But being by yourself, that takes the most important time, I think, to learn those things.
So, when you do, let's say you go on a date with somebody, would you be upfront with that on the first date? Like, would you kind of just, hey, this is what I want and this is what I need, and if not any of this or none of this,
if this
It's
sounds cool
appealing
to you,
then
then let's do this. If it doesn't sound cool to you, all
Could
right.
we just all like save each other all the time in the world?
I get you. I get you.
I personally would love if that's how everyone operated, but
But the thing is, it's like, let's say you go out on a date with somebody on your level, they would probably be down for that. Like,
Right.
hey, let's just talk about what we want, what we need. We're two grown ass men, you know. Like you just,
put it out there.
yeah,
I think I'm more in the space of playing. Like let's see how this feels. And I understand it takes a really so another piece that I understand is that it's gonna be a lot of time in between saying yes to another partnership. So being slow to make the decision, I think is a really big thing I learned with being with myself is don't just jump at anything that looks fun and shiny
yeah,
because that fun and shiny will wear and tear. Let time kind of show you who you are. Let your actions show me who you are. You might tell me a version of yourself that you think I want to know, but I want to see you interact with your friends. I want to see you interact with your community. I want to see you interact with your work environment. That's going to tell me.
yeah.
who you
That's why
really
it's
are.
always good to kind of bring your significant other, like bring them around your friends, or like do something that's kind of not just two of you, because that's how you can kind of see like who they really are.
Yeah.
Because they can obviously, like if it's very intimate, that's a different version of them. And who's the version of them that is not intimate and, romantic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece. What do you think for being single? You can attest,
Mhm.
yes or no. Creating. Have you done the best when you were single or when you were with somebody?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you. What do you want to go first? Should
No,
I go
go
first?
ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell
Sorry.
you. Okay, he had to grab the mic.
I created on my own.
Mhm.
But what drove me was that it's just this fire of like, oh, I want to get better. I want to self improve. I want to make sure that the things that I do are something to like a legacy that I leave behind. Um, when I started creating for myself, by myself, it I felt like I had this fire. Like I had this, oh, okay, like wow, I built this. I created like this like I was talking to you before the podcast. I built this website. I thought it was pretty cool. I was learning this stuff in school. I was like, wow, I built this. Made a video game. Did some coding. I was like, wow, I built this. Like
Yeah.
my mind was blowing all over the place. I go to the gym. I was breaking PRs, and I was like, wow, I did this. Like, it's it blew my mind being on my own, learning these things on my own, like seeing how far I can make it on my own was amazing.
Mhm.
And like those are the things that I take with me every single day. It's like, oh, I used to be able to do this, I can still do it. Now that I'm in a relationship, I find myself striving to create even more, even like striving to like I don't tend to do the same things that I used to, which is kind of it's not such a bad thing, but like I find myself trying to like make a better website or make better quality videos, photos, whatever. I feel like I'm doing more mainly because like I strive to, because I'm building this garden and I want this garden to grow. So like in order for me to just have this plot become like a garden of Eden, like this huge valley of like amazingness. Um, I'm thinking about like what's my next move, like not just in body, mind, and soul, but like by my work. Oh, okay, I've been working here for this long. Like, what's the next step? Like, is this enough for me to sustain what I have right now? I'm watching YouTube. I'm always like trying to make sure that what if I do this, or I'm also like trying to make sure that I maintain my own garden, so that going to the gym or like I'm learning more basically. Just because like I want to be more, not just for myself, but for this person that I've brought into this, like who has like who laid this garden down next to me. Like I want to do more. I want to be more. I want to I mean, that's just me though. Like, there are other people out there who don't look at the other garden. They're like, oh, my garden is hella cool, so I'm just gonna like make sure my garden stays cool. But you know, when she added her garden to mine, I was like, I want to make both of ours cool. I want to make sure that, you know, and I'm not getting in the way of your garden. You're not getting in the way of my garden, but I want to make sure that our garden are growing together. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that I feel like my fire went from like, you know, this nice cozy fire to a blazing like let's you know,
Take on the world.
take on the world. Yeah, exactly. It's so different. It's so different. But I think it's also you find it with the right person. The right person. You can't just it's not just anybody. Like there are relationships where I had in the past where it's just like, cool. Like I'm in here, let's, you know, do this steady thing. In my mind I was like, oh, okay, this is how a relationship goes. Like we get together, we just we do a steady thing and we don't worry about anything else that comes around. But in this new relationship, I'm like, okay, I'm in this relationship with you. You're amazing. I need to be just as amazing. I'm pretty sure I was amazing, but I need to be as just as or even more amazing. Like, you know, this podcast thing, I started it with before her. You know, now that I'm in it, like, you know, I'm thinking about all these other things. I was like, wow, like I can't just do a podcast. I could do like all these other stuff. JERiCK's doing all these reaction videos. Like these ideas are coming out of nowhere. I should start doing these ideas too. So I don't know. It's just being in a relationship causes me to, at least in my opinion, causes me to feel like I need to do more. Not just, but I also have to act upon those ideas. I can't just like
Action.
I gotta make action. Just like, you know, can't just say you're doing things. You gotta do these things. So I'm trying to put not just pen to paper, but paper to action. Yeah.
That was.
But yeah, for me in the past, I was definitely guilty about not focusing on myself or whatever I needed to do, my purpose in life. And I think, you know, I was young. You know, when you're young, all I could think about was like, oh, going to school and my relationship. Those were just the two things that I focused on during those times. And obviously it didn't work out because I wasn't growing, I wasn't focusing on myself, and she was probably doing the same thing too. But now,
What's that?
especially, well, actually, in my the last relationship I had, we had like kind of like similar like schedules, so we were both kind of busy, so it gave me kind of have like that room to actually do my own thing. And like Christian said, like you just gotta find that person that's kind of equal to you or like something similar to you, that they appreciate their own like struggles and like hustles, and like being in that moment with them just kind of, so when you hustle, you focus on the hustle, but then when you're with them, you're focusing on them. And I think that's what I learned the most with my my last relationship. It's just like the quality time, even though we only spend, you know, a couple hours a day.
How do you spend those hours?
Yeah, it's how you spend those hours. It's the quality, not the quantity. And but yeah,
That one, yeah.
but I mean, being single, obviously, you have a lot more time in your hands. So technically, you could do more because you don't have to give those extra hours that you would have in your relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this analogy inside my mind. I use this on the mat in training with the trainers.
Yeah.
We have 100 pennies in 1 hour to give out to everybody. So I see the same concept within my mind of I have 100 pennies in one day, and how am I going to spend those pennies? Am I going to spend them on my spiritual practice, on my self-development, on my work, on my home environment, on my physical body, and fun? So I spend those pennies allowing. My life is never going to be like this. It's going to be here, here, here. And I'm always going to be changing throughout all those. And so when I know when it's the right time and space and that person does show up, these are the things I know about myself because I spent time with myself. And so how many pennies am I going to not just match them of saying, this is what I'm going to dedicate to building this with you. but also at the same time in the space of unconditional. I don't know. That's what I want. Hopefully, is this unconditioned. Like I give just because I can, not expecting anything back from you.
Absolutely.
You add value by you just being you. I add value by me just being me.
Snap it for you.
You get a snap. But it's the space that once again, I think it takes a lot of time. And I will recommend this to anybody. Spend 1 whole year by yourself. If you,
Oh, I've done it.
amazing, right?
Yeah, I was single for 3 years after my first big breakup.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was a 5.5 years relationship. I mean, obviously after that ended, I mean, I
Rebound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to rebound, but it didn't work out in my favor. But after the rebound phase, I was just kind of over it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, yeah, I was just, I'm just gonna focus on school because during that time I was still in college. So I was just like, go to school, just finish, and just do my own thing. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, obviously I was alone. I was enjoying myself. But during that time, I wasn't necessarily focusing on self-development in a sense that, I mean, obviously I was going to school trying to finish something. But aside from that, I wasn't really doing anything extra. But now, like every time I fail on something, I always try to kind of like look back and try to see like what can I do better next time.
I think that there's also, at least just for myself, that time alone, and then time spent on yourself and with yourself. It's no longer you kind of reaching and grabbing for anyone's time or attention or love or affection. So I remember spending a year with myself. Awesome. Okay, I'm ready to date. Go out there. And nothing. It's not happening. No sparks. I'm like, what the hell?
I think it's because
I thought I was ready.
I think it's probably in your mind you were ready. It's like, oh, it's been a year. You had 365 days. Be like, you know what? I did my work. But then in your mind, like I was ready,
but not.
But then you weren't really ready because you were counting.
I wasn't ready.
I think for me, I don't even think how many days matters. It's whenever you're ready. Like it could be 3 months, who knows? Like, or 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years.
That's true. Yeah. You never know. Yeah, I just remember that feeling of like, I'm ready, and then it not happening. And then another year went by, not on purpose either.
Yeah.
I was open, trying to be open, and it didn't happen. And then the third year went by. But through all that time, that needing or wanting or seeking kind of subdued, and I remember being so okay with being my own best friend.
Yeah,
I loved my time, my quality time. I remember I would take myself out on dates. Literally, like tonight we're gonna go do this, and then we're gonna get ice cream. And then I just remember.
I know. I saw you at the movie theaters by yourself.
I still do, yeah. And I think those things are so important because then it doesn't become. I'm not okay with saying yes to just anyone.
Yeah.
Because you're not competing with other people. You're competing with my person, like with me.
Yes.
With
absolutely.
my personal time. And it's valuable. And so that's another piece of like, I know how to treat myself well. So if I know how to treat myself well, that means I'll treat somebody else well. Am I ready for that person? Am I ready to look at somebody else and kind of hear what you need to hear and try to treat you the way you need to be treated? If I'm not whole and complete, I'm definitely not in that space to be able to give something once again if I don't have it for myself.
Yeah.
So being with myself, knowing myself, and then also like treat yourself to dates. Take you out how you wish somebody would go take you out. Go do those things for yourself and see what it's like to be your own best friend. Because if your quality time with you is not fun and you're not having fun with yourself, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same when you actually go on a date. You're not going to be any fun. You're no fun to be around if you're not even having fun with yourself.
That is true.
It goes to that
is
Beyonce
true.
song, me, myself, and I. You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about? Gonna be my own best friend.
Yes, yes.
No, but in all honesty, you should. You should know. You should. I mean, it's not just like in relationships, but like in all aspects of relationships. You know, like you gotta know that you know who you are.
You had a relationship with you.
Yeah, you know how you want to be treated. In all honesty, like if you're trying to build this beautiful garden with somebody, make sure that your garden is looking really good too.
Hell yeah.
That garden is
Dope.
yeah. It's all in order the way you want it to. It's like, oh, you want the daffodils over there? Cool. I want myself roses on this side, but sometimes I want like this nice like area where there's like it's a little creek with like a little fish pond in there. You just build it for yourself, and don't be afraid to build it for yourself. Because I think what you guys were trying to hit upon earlier was that, okay, a year passed by and I'm so single. It should be a year passes by. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm single. What the heck? Like, I'm having such a good time. And then somebody goes like, oh shit, that person's single. I want to know what's making him smile. Shit, let's go see what's going on. And I think that's what happens is that you're not expecting to be in love. You're not expecting to have somebody come into your life. You're just there. You're just doing.
I so am.
Yeah, you have to just.
No, I'm
do.
sorry.
Wait, still am what?
I think so I think if you can be comfortable with yourself, if you can be your own best friend, if you know how to be with who and what you are, if you love yourself completely, if you can literally look in the mirror and say, I love the person that's looking back at me. I love the being you are. And if I'm intentional about creating my dreams and making my dreams reality, if I'm intentional about anything else that I have the idea I want, I go get it. Why wouldn't I be intentional with my love life?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So this is going to be a really big portion of my life. Why wouldn't I put time and energy and some kind of effort towards writing down the qualities that I want, towards writing down what it's going to look and feel like? And so when it does happen, I'll know emotionally, oh, there you are. Instead of like this kind of grabbing energy.
Yeah.
Compared to the
that's understandable.
Steady energy of, I've been waiting for you. There you are. I think there's a portion of being single where have you ever met someone that's single but kind of like salty about it?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Like single and angry. Like they're trying to be like, I'm single, but like I don't like it.
It's like party, and then you cry home at night.
Yeah. I think there's a portion of that you need to be careful about. Or if you're single and jaded, like you got hurt really bad, and now here you are with this armor on your heart, and you just won't let no one or nothing in close to you, and so it can't even come in.
It's that saying, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a good saying.
Yeah.
I think that's another piece of like if you should be putting time towards what it is that when you're ready to call that in, of what is it that I truly want, and what is it going to look like, what is it going to feel like, and what kind of qualities do I want out of this? How is it going to fuel me? And you should self-reflect because every single relationship, you should take a golden nugget from it, a couple of them.
Absolutely.
I learned this about me. When I'm in conflict, I will react and I'll shut down. I'll get quiet and I won't talk. So I know these things about myself. You should take something away from each relationship ever. And so going to the next one, you're way more well-equipped about yourself, knowing these things, compared to being blind to them. I didn't know that I acted like this.
Yeah, it was really interesting when I had a moment where, like in my past relationship, like every time, like my girlfriend would do something, like I would just snap. For some reason, I would just get really angry. I get really annoyed about something that she does, or like when she says something to me, and then it happened again on this recent relationship, but I was so calm and like in my head I was like, holy crap, like normally I would like probably like push back when she pushes me, but this time I was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It was interesting to just like in my head too, like while this is happening in real time, I was just like, huh. Normally I would snap in this situation, but I didn't this time. Yeah, it was
Growth.
very interesting.
Growth.
Yeah. Growth.
So as
Growth.
a single man, JERiCK, you, what
DMs,
is
ladies.
He's
Are
not
you-
looking, but
I know I'm not looking right now, but if you want to slide, go for it.
So as a single, how long have you been single?
Well, I guess cool. 2-3 months.
2-3 months. Are you in the phase of single, not ready to mingle?
I think that's the thing that I'm kind of trying to decide at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was ready,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess like looking at it in a very deeply in my thoughts, maybe I'm not as ready as I think I am. But I want to be ready.
Okay.
so you build the tools for yourself.
I guess I'm just
build the garden
not
for yourself.
maybe I'm not over the past relationship as I thought I was.
What kind of work does that need to, I guess that's what my mind goes through, of when do we make that distinction in between single, not ready to mingle, single, ready to mingle?
It's not like a date thing. It's more
Yeah.
like a
I think
Like
it's
you were saying
more of
earlier,
like
you
the
know?
feeling in yourself where, because if there's still kind of, I think part of it's healing too.
Okay.
I heard this from this guy. His name is his last name is Laboussiere. Remember that guy?
you said
oh
that.
yeah, the guy you sent to me.
Yeah.
I remember.
He talks about healing in your relationships. Like you're not ready unless you
Healed.
heal from whatever trauma or
Mm-hmm.
pain you're going through. And I think when that moment comes, when I'm like, okay, I don't want to say like, oh, I don't care about her anymore. It's just like I've let go.
I'm at
It's
peace.
time to go.
Yeah.
And that's probably the time that I'm ready.
Another question that comes up is, do you give yourself a timeline of, like, I guess, closure or grief, or is that just something that plays out on its own?
I guess I don't have a specific timeline. Probably ASAP. Preferably ASAP. But I think it's probably because I don't even know if
And how do you
Putting-
heal from
yeah,
a
'cause, like,
relationship?
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if putting a timeline because that would probably put too much pressure on you. Like if I say, oh, like my timeline is like 2 months,
Mhm.
and
Or
if it
1
doesn't,
year,
yeah,
or-
if it doesn't happen in 2 months, then like you know,
I think personally, after getting, out of a relationship, for me, when I was thinking about it, I was like, well, what did I do wrong in this relationship? Have I conquered that part of myself yet? Because if I have not conquered that part of myself, then I'm probably most likely not ready for the next one. You know what I'm saying? And then what are the good things about this relationship? What is the qualities? So you not only you'll not only reflect on a relationship, but you also have to self-reflect on yourself, and you just want to make sure that the things that you've done, like I like to take the things that I've done and I think about it and I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? Then, like obviously, like this a relationship is two people dancing, not just me, not just her.
Mhm.
Like if we're not dancing together, then that's probably the reason why we're not together. It's because we didn't dance together. So I like to reflect about like what did I do? What are the good things that I did? What are the wrong things that I did? And I mean, I don't go out there and get validation from anybody, but I will go and be like, hey, what do you think about this? I was like, is this something proper that people do in relationships, or is this something proper that you do? And if I only have a handful of people I really like to say that to. It's like my sister, JERiCK, and our other good friend Andrew, and like I'll bounce these ideas off these guys, and they're like, dude, yeah, no, absolutely, you should have done that, or no, that's a big no, like don't do that,
Mm.
So like it's just you want to like look at yourself, make sure that like obviously you can't tell yourself, oh, that was bad. You gotta go and have somebody else help you out. Like these people are close to you. And then once you understand that's about yourself, you go not looking for love, but you go and just like enjoy life. Go travel, go create something, go eat something amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, you just go do it.
It's just the law of attraction, dude.
Yeah.
When you're having fun, people just kind of drawn to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but you learn so much more about yourself. Like go somewhere that you've never been to before, you know, like go to somewhere go to Alaska, cuz I heard like Alaska is like a great place to just, you know, like
For singles?
not for singles. I mean, well, yeah, I heard that like there's not a lot to do up there, but you it's giving you enough to reflect, and there's cool stuff to do out there, like dog sighting or like
We're going to
Dog
Alaska.
sliding.
yeah, why not? But I mean, that was just like a thought, you know. But go do something that would help promote self growth, that help to isolate you from not only are you, let's be honest, you're not only isolating yourself from, you know, the relationship, but you're isolating yourself from, you know, the people in that same scenario. You know, I feel like if I were to get out of another one of those another relationship, then I'm most likely gonna go and self reflect and go travel the world and see what, you know, what more I can make of myself, rather than like what more or what I was in that moment in time. You know,
Mhm.
because like, you know, there's always room for growth. Knowledge is such an amazing thing. There's something you probably don't know yet, and
Always.
go do that. Like if you're literally sitting at home and you're thinking about relationships, then you haven't conquered yourself yet. You shouldn't be thinking about relationships. You should be thinking about yourself and what you can do to improve yourself. And if you just want to be at home and like not think about the world and do you, then do you. But don't think about relationships, because it is not the main thing in your life.
It's not the solve all.
It's not the solve all. Yeah. You need to know who you are by yourself. You won't know that if you're constantly like, you know, if you're a serial dater or what have
Yeah.
you.
I mean, being single doesn't mean you're lonely. It's just
No.
you're single.
As somebody that was single and was lonely, so I can speak on both parts of being that single person, being like salty as fuck. Ooh. Sorry.
It came out.
Obviously, you could tell I was really salty.
I mean, he was salty at that moment.
And also just being single and not understanding. After that first year, I was frustrated of like, I don't get it. I don't understand, like, I'm a good person. Is it me? All these things. And it's so funny to watch the human experience of how you learn lessons.
Yeah.
And so watching my mind understanding go through this process of it's me. I need to fix me. I need to do better.
Yeah.
I need instead of, you know, you're perfect just the way you are, Javon. And it's not you, it's the right people. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And so I had to change my verbiage.
Yeah.
I had to change my mindset with what I was truly looking for, thinking I was looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that now I have these tools of being in this single space and being okay and know that I will be okay single. When I didn't know that before, being a serial dater,
Yeah.
of someone that was just in it just because I didn't know how to be alone or didn't want to be alone.
I think the biggest fear
I
for
think
somebody being alone is the fact that you will grow old by yourself. Like that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It will never be a bad thing. You're not by yourself. You have your friends. You have your family.
Mhm.
Like just because you're at that, just because you think like, eventually something's gonna happen. It has to. Like even if you're 50, even if you're 60, and you're still alone, that means you just haven't learned much about yourself. You need to go do something.
Or you're just not taking action.
You're not taking action.
Or-
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, there's something about like learning and doing what you learn
Yeah.
too. It's
Don't be afraid to be alone.
you can't just be learning
Mhm,
and not
mhm,
do
mhm.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple friends that are, I would say, they've had the relationships. They're single, but not happy single. I think that's one thing. If you're single by choice and you're happy and you're enjoying your time and you know what you want and you're waiting for that to come up, compared to I'm single, I'm waiting for someone, but number one, I don't know what kind of qualities or traits to look for in someone. So I wouldn't know if it's you because I don't even have them listed or I don't have them ready. Or number two, I'm single, I really want someone, but I won't go on dates. I won't put time or effort or energy towards
No proactivity.
Yeah, I won't even like schedule in. I'll say I'm too busy or
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared, I'm nervous. So there's a sense of, okay, building confidence in yourself, loving yourself enough to be okay with saying I should be able to go on dates. Or I think that takes energy as well while you're being single. Of yeah, if you're single and you think you're ready for love, then you have to put energy towards love. What is it going to look like?
Do you think? 'Cause I know people make this as an excuse, like, "Oh, I'm too busy to date somebody right now." Like, what are your thoughts about that?
If they are telling me I'm too busy to date right now, but they're complaining about not
Yep.
having a significant other,
No, don't do that.
There's a lot of those.
well, then obviously like you have to get busy on creating that part of your life.
Yeah.
And I also I love this. I read this book. He's like a dating coach, and he talks about fishing.
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing that you should ask of somebody that you can't give yourself.
Mhm.
But you need to go out there and you need to go fishing often in order to catch the right one.
Mhm.
And so I remember for me, I purposely tried this out of like every Friday night I'm gonna make a date. I'm just gonna go on a date. And it was such a weird concept of asking people out on dates.
Mhm.
So
It
you
was-
asked them out, or they
Yeah.
asked you out?
I'm somebody that's I won't make the first move. I'm really passive.
I'm
I'm
kind of the same way
shy.
too.
Yeah. And so that was a piece of myself I had to conquer, of being like, it's okay to ask for what you want. And if you find something or someone that you like, then it's okay to say, hey, coffee, dinner, movies, date, bowling, game, kickboxing.
Yeah.
Plug.
Just an idea.
It's easy. It's okay to say those things. But I remember feeling that uncomfortable feeling and being scared, feeling
Yeah.
like I wasn't worthy. Like,
Mhm.
who am I? They're not going to like me. I'm not enough. So that's a piece of being single too, is like feeling these things that are lies,
Mhm.
but recognizing that they're lies and that you are enough. Go ahead and ask them for your number. If you're single and you want to mingle, go get you some.
Slide into those DMs.
You heard it here first.
Don't do the DMs, do it in person.
Or do it in person.
Yeah, didn't we have a discussion about that
Yeah.
with Jackie?
Yeah.
The DMs are too easy. Everybody's in the DMs. Do it in
That's
purpose.
true. That is true.
Yeah. Do it in person. I think that's, you learn so many great things. And the reason why I asked you to is there's this space of like, I'm repeatedly telling myself, I build the greatest things when I'm with myself,
Mhm.
when I'm by myself. And so there's a little bit of fear of ever wanting to fall in love. I don't need that. That fear is not healthy, right? Especially if I have a dream of a family, of a
Mhm.
home and kids, then I can't be fearful of that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
That's gonna stay away. And so this new conversation I'm having with myself about love and a relationship
Mhm.
is, it has to be practice. So instead of me being fearful of like, I build the greatest things ever when I'm by myself, when I'm spending the most time on me.
Mhm.
But if I want this piece of my life, then Javon, you're gonna have to give a little. You're gonna have to be okay with getting, like, falling out of balance for love. Oh, that's one of my favorite lines from P.S. I Love You, by the way.
Say it again. Say it again.
It's at the very end when she's gone on her trips. She left the country. She sold everything, went and found herself. And then at the very end, she is so in the zone, eat, pray, love. And then she finds this amazing man, and she's spending all her time with him. She stopped meditating. She stopped doing her. She stopped writing. She stopped reading.
Oh, so she stopped everything because she fell in love.
Yeah, and then she recognizes it, and she's like, no, I'm not doing this.
Mhm.
And she runs back to her guru man, and he grabs her. It's this little Balinesian man, and he says, Liz, sometimes in life you find balance. In life you found balance, but in order to have love, it's okay to lose balance. That's living life in balance. When you lose balance for love, that's living life in balance.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Watch that movie. P.S. I Love You.
That's
I
one
mean,
of my favorites.
I've never heard of that too. It's interesting because it's like, I think in life the ultimate goal is like to be loved and to love.
Yeah, in return.
Yeah. And I think like that's a big fear for people too. Like, oh, I have this great thing going on right now.
Mhm.
If love comes, it's gonna be like, it's gonna
Rock your boat.
it's gonna
ready.
ruin whatever I have. I mean, at least for like people's fears, like, oh, it's gonna ruin whatever good thing I have going.
Whatever I built.
Because like, oh, obviously I have to spend time with this person. I gotta
Mhm.
figure all this thing out, and like oh, it might ruin whatever I have, my career or my school or
what
whatever.
if they enhance it?
Yeah. And
You never know.
you never
Yeah,
know.
that's what I'm having new conversations with myself inside my mind.
Mhm.
Javon, you can't be fearful just because you fell down and you learned that lesson.
Yeah.
So the next time it comes around, number one, if you think you're ready, are you truly ready?
Hmm.
So just asking myself, am I ready? And being completely honest.
You have to have
Just
that
like he said
conversation
that.
with
He's
yourself.
like,
You
I
have to.
thought I was ready, but I'm not ready. And
Yeah.
that's okay not to be ready.
Mhm.
And then when you get to that space, Javon, when you think you are ready, are you going to be fearful? Are you going to hold on to old stuff, old past? Or are you going to come into this with a new slate, new clean slate? And instead of being fearful that they're going to take away time or um, I'm going to lose my building, my dreams. No, what if they came in and enhanced everything? What if they came in and they made everything better?
Mhm.
What if we fed off each other? What if this was something you never experienced before? That is what I think those new conversations, at least for myself, of being single with myself. So one time single all those years, learned so many things. This next time single by myself, even more of understanding, hey, I think I'm ready to get a little messy and understand that love does take time and it's a lot of energy. And yeah, you fall down, you hurt, you get bumped and bruised, but not to stay that way. Don't stay sour about it. Never stop creating yourself as you're with somebody else. That was a huge lesson. Why can't we build two empires at the same time?
Exactly.
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 Yeah, there's so many fun lessons being single, but I think you have to understand it's okay to be single and that you are going to be okay by yourself. You're going to be okay with or without that other
Mhm.
person. And either or, if somebody comes along, it should only get better.
Yeah.
It should only get better instead of having this fear of you're the solve all and all. That's a horrible mess right there.
Because I think when people say, "Oh, I'm scared of love. I'm scared of that because I don't want to get hurt." But love is not the one that's getting you hurt. It's the wrong kind
Yeah.
of. It's not being loved. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really listen to it carefully, it's not love. It's not being loved. That you kind of think, "Oh, that's love," because they, we're supposed to be together, and then this is supposed to be great, but you're not loving me right, and that's the thing that people are scared of. It's not the actual real love, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not explaining that right.
Where'd
You'll get it.
Yeah.
you get there? Where'd you get there?
Have you guys ever heard? I have a good friend. She always talked about three loves in life. You have the puppy love.
Get
That's
a
your
little
first.
closer. So
You have the puppy love. So in your first love venture, that's the puppy love. And then you have the deep love. That's the one that you think is the one. You just lose yourself, lose your mind, and then you have the true love. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh yeah, I've read that.
Yeah?
I've read that somewhere, and I'm like, in reality, there was a time where I had this puppy love, and I was like, damn,
That
I
was
immediately
love.
thought I was like, oh, I'm in love with this person.
I feel like that's the first relationship you'll ever get. It's like, oh, you're the first girlfriend I've ever had. It's like very, we've been together for a few years. Like, I'm gonna marry you, but we were young and naive.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you in now?
I want to say.
You better say the last one.
I want to say true love. I really
Well,
honestly want to say
What was the
true
second
love.
one again?
The second one is deep love.
Which is
Head over heels, blind, so lost.
Oh yeah, I've had that before, and and that's where I learn, how to pick myself up and dust myself off, and then not to be mad at myself, but to learn from myself and be like, look, you did this, you can't be mad at yourself, but you shouldn't be happy with yourself either. You need to learn that the next person you do love,
Mhm.
what should be the true love, is how you should be treating that person sans the things that you did before.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm trying to be at. Like it's still a learning process. I mean, like love, once you do get love, there is certain things, there's certain aspects in love that you don't really, you tend to forget because you weren't in that relationship for such a long time. But that's a different story for a different time.
yeah. But let's wrap this up. We got what?
Oh, we've been on here for
An hour and 13.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
It's-
few more questions for you, Javon.
Yes.
I know we've kind of like talked about it already, but give us some tactical advice.
Yeah.
Like an actual tactics that you use while you're like single and trying to figure yourself out?
Um, so there's this thing that's practiced in the recovery realm, and it's called a nightly inventory.
Mhm.
So a nightly inventory, you ask yourself a set of questions of, um, have I harmed anyone?
Yeah.
Do I
This is
only
every day.
nightly,
Yeah.
nightly, not
Nightly.
weekly, not monthly, not yearly, but
Nightly.
it's nightly. Have I harmed anybody? Do I owe anybody an amends? Is there someone I need to go make
And
right
apologize to or whatever.
with? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there something that I've withhold from somebody and I
Mhm.
need to tell them? And what more could I have packed into the stream of life? So what, not just things about yourself that were wrong, but what more could I add into my life? What more joy? What more
Mhm.
happiness? What more relationships? And so this tactical thing is what makes sure that I'm set, that I'm steady. And it's not just doing it nightly. Me as a human being, I
Mhm.
understand that doesn't stop even if someone else steps into my life and my
Mhm.
space. But I think if you tactically are taking a look at yourself,
Mhm.
and you can do this in a
Do you
relationship.
actually write this thing down, or
Yeah,
do you
you
just
can journal it.
okay?
I think it's best when you put pen to paper. I run through it through my mind, but once again, if you really want results, if you really want to see change in yourself, if you really want to develop as a human, as a spiritual being, as whatever it is that you feel that you're called to, then you need to be taking a look at yourself all the time, not beating yourself up, not being too critical.
Mhm.
But it's just being honest with yourself and learning how to have a relationship with yourself
Mhm.
and being able to call yourself out when you need to be called out,
Mhm.
being able to right your own wrongs and managing yourself, loving yourself. Because I think that puts you in the space of having people drawn towards you instead of being repelled by you. So if you're ever in a space where you're feeling like you're not getting the person you want or the relationships, whether that's friend relationships or even in a work environment, then you need to take a look at you. You have to
Mhm.
go inward. And so if there's anyone that's out there single, highly recommend taking yourself on a date.
It's always
Reflection.
important. Yeah.
And spending some time with yourself and making sure you're enjoying your own time, your own quality time, and knowing what you like, who you like, and don't be scared to make out a list of the things and the traits of what you want. So then when someone's in front of you, you're not left vulnerable of saying, because I want love so bad, I will take any kind of affection I can get from anyone. So that leaves you vulnerable as prey, and you can fall into the wrong hands
Mhm.
compared to, I know what I'm looking for. I know who I'm looking for. I know what type of person I'm looking for. And so when you do come across somebody and you sit across from them, you can say yay or nay. I think that's empowering in itself too, especially as an ex serial dater. Yeah,
Yeah,
reflection.
I
Take
like that. I like
that was
that.
good tactics.
It's good to, you know, I think in general it's just good to reflect. I didn't even think about doing it nightly. I just think about every now and then I self reflect.
Yeah.
Like, what have I been doing with myself? You know.
Usually people do it in really big times of their life.
Yeah.
Like New Year's, you look at New Year's and people
Yeah.
will take a look at how their past year went.
Mm.
Or in breakups. In breakups, okay, what did I do wrong in that relationship? Where
Mhm.
could I have gotten better? If you get fired from a job, you're like, shit, like what did I do from a job? So usually it's things in life that make you have to look at yourself compared to creating
That's
a regular
true.
practice of self-reflection.
Yeah.
It's just a regular practice. It's maintenance. It's growth. But if you can incorporate that into your daily, nightly routine, it doesn't become so drastic when that year inventory comes around or when you're about to hit something really big and major. You already know yourself. You've already been checking yourself, and your garden is clear of weeds.
I mean, that's a really good idea
Clear that garden.
to reflect. And what was those 3 questions again? So who?
Did you harm anyone?
Have I caused any harm
Yeah.
that I need to make amends? I'm probably quoting it wrong, but these are
And-
the ones that
Okay. All right. Do the 3 questions and then.
Okay.
So
have I caused harm that I need to go apologize for? What more could I have packed into the stream of life? And is there anything I'm keeping from someone that I need to go share with them immediately?
Okay. So when you answer those things, do you do anything about it?
You take action. Yeah.
You get it. You hop on that phone. You better be like, hey.
Do you do
Yo,
it like
you know, I
right
did this
away, or do
today.
you just like, oh, maybe I should kind of planned it out, maybe like on the next day.
So I
Or-
remember first trying to use this, and it was a little difficult learning how to be honest with yourself. I don't know
Mhm.
how good you are with being honest with yourself.
Mhm.
When you ask for help or guidance, usually you already know the answer, but you're too scared to take the action step
Mhm.
on the answer. So should I stay with this person? Hell no. But they're sweet. We've been together so long. Hell no. Oh, but we've spent so much time together. Hell no. So, have you ever been there?
Yes.
No, see,
Yeah.
so that's the answer. You'll get the answer. So it's the same thing when you ask yourself these questions. Have I withheld something from someone that I should share with them immediately? Ooh, you should have told them. No, but like, don't try to justify it. If it pops up, write it down. Take action. If it pops up, write it down. Take
Yeah.
action.
I mean, that's a good idea. It's like, does this thing has to be? Is it immediate or can it be?
If it's like 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait until the next day.
Yeah.
But I think if you are in a regular practice of self-reflection, then you can catch yourself if you're being needy.
Yeah.
You can
'Cause
catch
sometimes
yourself if
you have
you're-
to give yourself time to think about it too. Like, do I really need to say this at this very moment, or
Yeah.
can this wait till I'm a little bit more cool headed? You know.
There's a right time and a place for everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. Those good tactics. Thanks.
Yeah.
Um.
Thank you for having me again.
Two more.
Of course,
Two more
of course.
questions to
Okay.
end this. One question is, what should people learn? Something that you kind of learned recently, or I guess it doesn't have to be recent, but learn to do, or just anything interesting to learn.
What should people learn is this still relating to
No,
being
it
single?
doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
I'm
something that you learned recently that you think people should know is like, oh, well, this is what you really
yeah,
should do.
it doesn't have to relate to
Yeah, it doesn't have to do.
being single or relationships.
something that you should learn. Okay. This is a really fun one. I've always gone off of the saying, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no.
Yeah.
If it's not
There's
a
no
hell
in
ye-
between.
There's no in between. No in between. So whenever making decisions, I've always kind of, even going shopping, if I pick it up and I look at it and it doesn't make me go, then I know, put it down. Why waste money and
Yeah.
time and resources on anything that doesn't make you go? So when I open up my closet, everything should make me go. So I never have to have a hard time picking out an outfit. But I'm coming to this new understanding of let's have more options instead of just one option. So before closing one door and saying that there's only one open, I think I'm understanding more now is it's okay. I don't know is an answer.
Oh yeah.
I don't know is an answer. So instead of having this sense of that I need to answer or give an answer to somebody immediately right then and there, I don't know is an answer. Let me think about that. Let me get back to you on that. I'm learning how to use these words because then it's going to give my yes so much more power when I do say yes or pick what I want.
Mhm.
Instead of saying no, 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 and looking for the hell yes, how about you look at all possibilities?
Yeah. I tend to do that. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll have to say I don't know because I really don't. I'm not. I have no idea what I'm doing, and like, I want to meditate on whether or not this course of action or that course of action is the right course of action. You know,
Mhm.
like, okay, which one benefits me more, or benefits us, or benefits everything. And then sometimes people, if you want, I mean, in this world of instant gratification, you gotta learn to say, I don't know, give me a moment. I need to really like sit and think about this.
Mhm.
And I mean, but don't be the person who, because I'm also the one of those bad boys who, I don't know, becomes you, what do you know now? Oh, it's been about a couple of days. Yeah, let me answer that question for you.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you do it in a timely manner.
I mean, I like that. Have options.
yeah,
Mhm.
You know.
think about it. Meditate. It's good. It's good to
Meditate.
take a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one
Meditate.
thing to learn too. Meditate.
Yeah, meditate daily, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And last question. What are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for?
Yeah.
My connection. Yeah, without a doubt.
Connection meaning.
My connection to source, to this energy, to this thing that raises the sun and
To
grows
the
the plants.
vibe.
Yeah.
To vibes.
Yeah, because I there's no way in hell I would be able to do what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
There's no way in hell I would ever be able to accomplish or have the energy to accomplish everything that I'm working on right now without being connected. The right people, the right place, the right time, all of that wouldn't happen if I was not connected. Um, Going inward instead of outward for comfort and care. I know now everything I need is within myself.
Yeah.
And not just within myself, but it's connected. So when I say connection, it's this active relationship that is growing, that's yummy, it's loving, it's a whole nother relationship that my eyes are being open to right now. And I thought I had an understanding of how good and how great it was, but it's getting even better. It's getting even sweeter. It's showing me even more. And that piece I love. I love to death right now. I'm so grateful for it because when I tend to that, everything and everyone else around me gets a little bit better.
Awesome. Awesome answer. Snaps, snaps.
That's a beautiful thing.
All right. We're
Being true to
gonna
yourself, you know.
let you shameless plug for
Ooh,
the
shameless plug.
last moments of the podcast.
Yeah.
Go for
ahead.
it.
Plug yourself in somewhere.
Oh, shameless. Okay, now I know what this is. Okay. Shameless plug is you can find me on Instagram. Is that what this is? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely.
He wasn't ready last time. This time he's
I'm
hopefully
ready.
you're ready.
I'm getting better.
Okay.
A shameless plug. Okay, here we go. Instagram is Javon Devon 2.0. You can now also find me on my website. It is the Coming to You page, javondevon.com. And coming very soon, there will be the 6-week course called Welcome to You, where you can find a deep dive into yourself, learn what a meditation practice looks like, learn what visualization techniques are, learn what affirmations are, and once again, all these deep dives into oneself. It's called Welcome to You because it's you coming into you. And so, yeah, that's my shameless plug of the night.
And when is this coming out? Is there like specific day or just a general estimate, I guess? Just so people can anticipate. Yeah.
Let's say this. Let's go with this. At the end of this month, I'm going to a yoga training retreat. And so when I come back, after I'm filled up, after I'm juiced up, I'm looking to give this away. So towards the end of March, keep your eyes open.
End of March.
Keep
Stay
those
tuned for
eyes
that.
open.
JavonDevon.com.
JavonDevon.com.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you guys
Thanks
for
for
having me so much.
Thanks
you
for coming back on.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Always a great time.
Yeah, this is way more fun. You guys, if you watch this podcast, sitting on this side is a whole lot fun.
You want to be on this side? Hit us up.
yeah. This is, you guys create a great space. It's really fun. It's informational. It's real life. It's not fake. Nothing scripted. It's all from here, and it's all real life. I think that's the most important piece of being human is when we share these things, we're so much more alike than we are different. And so we learn through each other's wins, success, failures, all of that. And so I love that you guys have created a space where you get to speak openly and use curse words if they come out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just be you. So
do it.
Thank you guys for being here.
All right.
Blessings.
That's it. See you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.